Hey everyone, it's Courtney Koenig here, igniting your human design to become a powerful, profitable, purposeful boss. I'm so excited to have generator Suki on today. You guys are going to love her. She's magic. So please drop in the comments, welcome. Thank you all so much for being on and on the replays as well. We're just so grateful for this community that we've built together where we're helping each other to rise to thrive. Now, I have a really special announcement at the end, so make sure you stick around and you catch that. Also, make sure that you go on Monday's post. We always have a collaboration post, right? I'm all about making authentic collaborations with each other and really supporting each other, right? We come into this community to learn and to grow together. So I'm really excited to be having that. So make sure you jump on that. Tell us again where you are coming from the country, and as we get into this human design reading, let me know if you're a generator or if you know someone that's a generator. Remember, it's so important to get the charts of those that surround you, right? Those your family members, your coworkers, your team members, those that you're coaching, really helpful. Hey, Sylvania, awesome. It's so important to get those so that you know how to interact with each other well. So as we go through this and you're like, well, I might not be a generator, but I need to learn because you probably most likely have generators that surround you. And it's great to know how to interact with them and how to build those collaborations and those relationships moving forward. So drop an emoji how you're feeling today. I had kind of a rough sleep last night, so my emoji would be tired, but this is lighting me up. Having Suki on is lighting me up, and I'm so excited. Please welcome her to Rise. Hey, Suki, thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, even this generator is a little bit tired after that full moon.
Oh, yes. Seriously. Oh my gosh, I know my projector. When I get a little tired, I'm like, oh gosh, here it comes. Oh my goodness.
Thank you
Well,
for
I
having
wanted to, oh, I'm so glad. I wanted to introduce you to our audience. Um, so Suki and I met on Instagram. She has the most beautiful Instagram, and if you have to follow her on Instagram, and she'll drop. We'll get all those in the notes and in the comments as well. When I saw her stuff on Instagram, I immediately spoke to me. I could feel her positive energy, her authenticity come through. And I talk to people and when I coach them all the time, my students, like, hey, our energy speaks before we even open our mouth, whether that's in person or on social media. And you have this way of doing business unlike anything I've ever seen. And it's so magical and so powerful. And I love that we get to talk more about this today, especially bringing generator to the table. But if you could just tell the audience about yourself and where you're from and everything too. So
Right. So I feel like everything's like an unfolding and an evolving. And it's funny because a lot of people will mention stuff about my social media, and we're always our own biggest critics. So I'm like, oh, it's not good enough. It's not this enough. It's not. But over the time, from the time that you met me, I call myself a spiritual coach, but I realized that to be more specific, I work with people specifically on creativity, on healing the divine feminine, on being in this mystical and magical flow. And I think you're 100% right. I definitely infuse that into all of my social media or any kind of online presence. I want people to know that, like, I am very much connected to this very intuitive side of myself, and that is like the intuitive and the expressive and the creative side of myself is my superpower, and we all have the ability to tap into that energy. It's just that sometimes, especially in this very masculine driven world, everything is focusing on results and outcomes and analytics and 10K months, 20K months. And like
yes.
we're so focused on that we forget about focusing on our inner joy and our inner peace and our inner well-being. And I think that's so incredibly important.
That is. And when all those things are lined up, that inner workings, all those results come. It's not like we have to beat it down in order to work hard. the more we work, the more success we'll have. It's not that formula. And so I love that you step away from that.
And we were just talking about, I don't know how other people felt for the month of May, but the month of May was quite challenging for a lot of people, mainly because we were right in the middle of Mercury retrograde. And
Yes.
that's the time where you're supposed to slow down and when you're supposed to reflect, and also when challenges might be arising that you have to look at something within yourself. So I was in Kenya visiting my dad who was sick, and I was telling Courtney about this. And the next thing I know, I got sick with COVID, and
Of course.
stuck in Africa for 3 weeks, which was interesting. But it's like in the moments where we find these challenges, and it's in the moments when we're being asked to surrender, that we can have our most profitable and our most successful months. And it's always like, for me, I realized that so much of my perception was that I needed to be the one driving, or I needed to be the one pushing everything forward. And it's a very common thing for generators, is we feel like
Yes.
we have to just keep on. And if we don't move, that we'll stop. And if we stop, we'll sink to the bottom and we'll
Things
be
will fall apart.
everything will
Yes.
fall apart. And it was very interesting because my coach asked me while I was in Africa, she's like, "Well, has everything fallen apart?" And I said, "No." I said, "My business is still running. My virtual assistants are posting on social media. Emails are still going out. Like, from the outside perspective, nobody would know that I was laying on a couch."
Yeah, I didn't even know. And we talked, and I was like, "You were sick?" Oh,
Nobody would know
yes,
that
yes,
because everything was still moving. And she was right. I was like,
yes,
"Yeah, still moving." And she's like, "Are you still getting clients?" And I said, "Actually, I've had 3 people reach out to me to work together while I've been sick on the couch." And so
yes.
it happens whether we think it's happening or not. It's happening. It's moving.
It's moving. Well, and that with that generator energy, and that's one thing I wanted to bring up with your chart is, and see how you handle this. So that generator, you're always on the go, right? You have this go, go, go getter energy. You like just do it, get a lot done, and you expect a lot of yourself to get done. Like this enormous list of things that is pretty impossible for one human being to get done. That's what you expect. So your expectations are high. And with you, you have a defined route, which also gives you the drive. So you're like, oh, I want to do this. So not only, yeah, that sacral energy going, yes, yes, let's do it. I have all the work energy behind this work. You have the drive that's like, yes, I need to do this. So, and then that passion is pulling people towards you, and you get excited to help people and help them on their journey. So, how, with your generator energy, how do you manage this go, go, go and expectations of yourself with these calm business practices that we need, but it almost feels counterintuitive, right?
I had to basically unlearn everything that I knew. I feel like I feel like being like learning about human design was
Mm.
such a huge awakening aha moment for me, because it was like, oh, I'm doing it completely wrong. And it's so funny that you say the list, because I have a list on my wall and I look at it, and it's extremely intimidating because my list is like never ending. I and if I take one thing off the list, I'll add two more things to the list, because
Yes.
that's the way I am. So
Yes.
I've been definitely a perfectionist my whole life. I definitely,
Mhm.
and I have a book that I've been writing called The Creative Goddess
Oh.
Code. And in the book, I talk
Oh.
about how perfectionism is actually an ancestral disease. It's something that's passed down
Oh.
from generation to generation. If you're a perfectionist, it's no doubt in my mind that either your mother or your father is a perfectionist, and then your
Oh.
grandmother or grandfather was a perfectionist, and your great grandfather
Oh.
just keeps on coming down the line. Because what happens is we have these expectations, and then we set certain expectations for our children that are probably even higher than our own expectations, because it's like you have your own
Yes.
expectation, but then for your child you want an expectation up here. The child's
Yeah.
never going to reach that expectation no matter how hard the child tries, because the child's just being a child,
Yes.
and even a teen. A teen's just being a teen, and we have these unrealistic expectations. It's actually extremely dangerous because it's not just it can't just be something that we continue to strive to and never reach, but sometimes for some people it can lead to extreme bouts of anxiety and depression. And so I think it's really important as a generator, if you are a generator, to just be really gentle with yourself and do a lot of
Yeah.
deprogramming of that perfectionism and those high expectations, because those high expectations will never be met by you. You will never, and that's what I had to realize. I
That's
had to realize that it will never be perfect enough for you, Suki. But that doesn't mean
that's
that it's not perfect enough for everybody else. So it was
yes.
an aha moment for me. And then I love that you said about the root, because when I discovered about my defined root, it makes me realize that even though I have a lot of the creative energy and I can create and create and create, and sometimes swirl myself into a frenzy of creation. That's
Yes.
that's when the sacral's in like overdrive. I can still get really grounded, and it doesn't take much to get me back into my physical body. And I think that's why when people work with me, they really enjoy working with me, because I do keep them very grounded, and I do a lot of techniques. It was yoga was one of the big things as well that saved
Mm,
my life, to learn about being in my body through yoga and breathing
yes.
and slowing down and surrendering. There's a lot of surrender in yoga. And just
Mhm.
being by yourself on your mat. Don't worry about who else is. Just come back to yourself. That was very healing for me. And so I try to, when you said the calming practices, I try to impart back all that I've learned through that. Like,
Uh,
let's come back into our bodies. Let's calm it down. Let's slow it down. Sometimes, though, for some clients, it might be about speeding it up. It might be about
yeah.
dancing or shaking it off, because they've actually been so
Yes.
stagnant, and there's been no movement. Actually, a lot of projectors.
Yes.
I will do a
Yeah.
lot of speeding it up. I'll do a lot of, "Okay, we're gonna
Yes.
we're gonna get into this energy," and then when I get off the call with the projector, they're always like, "Oh my god, I feel so, like, ready to do this." I say, "Yeah, because 'cause we're in it now," you know?
Yeah, you're imparting your energy as a gift to projectors.
It's
And
like,
that's why I think it's so magical to use human design in business,
yeah.
and have coaches know, okay, what are my students' design type? And so you're not self-fame, and a lot of generators struggle with this is frustration, and so it's and when we're again, our not self theme is when we're not aligned with who we are, our human design, who our being, that alignment is everything. Just like a car is going down a freeway and the tires are shaky and it doesn't drive very well, that's exactly what we do to ourselves when we are misaligned. So this alignment means everything. So this frustration. Now, frustration can feel like a lot of different things to different people at different times, right? And so often gens want things right now, like you can do the work, you have the drive to do it, you can take it to the next level, you've proven that before, and they have high expectations to accomplish all the things. How does frustration feel in your business, and then how do you realign that?
So the frustration definitely shows up for me when I feel some of that imposter syndrome creeping up. And I feel like
Mm,
everybody gets that at some point, especially if you have
yes,
that high perfectionism drive in you. It's never good enough. I don't have enough. I don't do, like,
yes,
I'm not getting enough likes on Instagram. I'm posting and nobody cares about what I'm doing. I'm just going to delete
yes.
stuff. I'm just not going to post. And
Yes.
it's
Right.
I can get very much into that, and that's when I am being too much in my masculine. Like I said before, it's like
Got it.
I'm focusing on the outcomes, I'm focusing on the numbers, I'm focusing on the, and I'm forgetting about, like, just being in the energy of creation, or just enjoying it for the sake of enjoying it. And I think when you said the thing about frustration, that hit me as well is like, um, this past month I was supposed to have my website completely redesigned and rebranded.
Oh,
My web designer ended up getting sick as well. And I can't, fault her because here I was sick as well. So I
yeah.
said, that's okay. We're all sick and, take your time and everything. So the website is not, has not been revealed yet. It hasn't been designed, it hasn't been touched. And the old Suki would have been just sitting in all of that frustration.
Oh, yes.
But the new Suki said, okay, once again, I can't control that, and I think it's constantly about coming back to that space of surrender for me with the frustration.
Mhm.
Whenever I'm in the frustration, it's because I'm trying to control too much, or I'm trying to push too much,
Yeah.
or I'm trying to push it too hard before it's quite ready to be released into the world. And this was a
Yes.
really big eye opener for me to just continue to let go, continue to release, listen to your inner wisdom and everything. And so I
Yeah.
do believe that it's going to come out at the perfect time and in the perfect.
Yes. Yes. And that mantra that I use with a lot of generators and MGs too is oh gosh, no, I just forgot it. It's like it won't miss me. What is that phrase? Whatever thing won't miss me, I'm not missing out
Yeah,
basically,
yeah, fear of
because there's
missing
that.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, there's that fear that, oh, if I don't do enough, I'll miss out on it. But actually, like, releasing and relaxing into it helps immensely, and feeling that alignment
That
is
was one of the things
everything.
that was a huge aha for me because I feel I have a really good, like, website and online
Yeah.
presence. I had my blog,
Yes.
my website up for, like, 10 years, and I rely very heavily on that in the feeling of, like,
Mhm.
this is where people are gonna find me, and this is where people are gonna book calls with me, and this is where people are gonna read about me. And the truth is, like, it was such a limiting belief, it was such a false
Yes.
head because people found me without the website. The website went down for several days. Like, I couldn't, and I was in Africa, and there was nothing I could do about it. And the website went down, and I was freaking out. And it's like, people are still
Yeah.
reaching out to you, Sugi. People are still watching you on Instagram or TikTok. I mean, so it's just, it's you do these things in your head that you believe. And that's why I always tell
Mhm.
people, like, that sales don't come from a pretty website. You can have a pretty website and you can make
Yeah.
zero sales. Sales
Yes.
come from a pretty website. Sales don't come from a perfectly pretty Instagram grid. That
Yes.
they come from your energy,
Yes, that energy speaks before words even come across. I love that. So on your chart, when I go through human design readings, live ones, and when I do human design readings for clients, I always let the chart speak to me. I allow that soul to connect with me, and that's what I'm really good as a projector. And on your chart, your 1-3 profile really stood out to me. And it's this establisher of knowledge and truth. So we know that the first number is how we see ourselves, and the second is how others see us. And so the number one is this knowledge seeker. So you seek out information, understanding things, kind of sometimes get down in this rabbit hole of like, going down those directions, but you're thirsty for information. Now, this three is this experimenter. So you like to test things out and see how they work. There's a trial and error process that's really beautiful in your process of finding what's working and what's not. And every outcome contains wisdom for you. Now, if you combine these numbers together, this conglomerate, truth evolves as you evolve. And there's a really spiritual process to that, which I thought was amazing because I was like, oh, yeah, you're super spiritual and so in tune with that. Um, and you're meant to be an authority figure. You're qualified by just being you, just by being you and the knowledge that you have right now. So in your coaching practice, as we have lots of people and coaches in here and there, and we've talked about this too. Like, there's kind of this fear of like, oh, should I launch this program? Should I launch this offer? Oh, this kind of, I don't know if I know enough or I'm quite there yet. That's what I hear all the time. Um, and how do you overcome that thought of that I'm not enough or I need to learn more to teach your clients?
Mhm.
Kind of,
Absolutely. No, it's, the 1-3 is, it's so clear to me that, like, I'm very good at taking kind of, like, all the knowledge and, like,
mhm.
chopping it up and helping
Yeah.
people see, like, step 1, step 2, step
Mhm.
3, 'cause it can be
Mhm.
very overwhelming when you get, like, a lot of information. I'm sure even you with, like, human design, it's, like, endless information, and people can
Yes.
feel very overwhelmed by it when you
Yes.
just, like, give them all this stuff and they like, "I don't know
Yes.
what to do with all this." So, yeah, I'm very good at, like, chopping it down for people and be like,
Mhm.
"Okay, hold on. First, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do that." And yes, there's some experimentation because I might say, "Okay, today we're gonna throw all that out the window and we're gonna do something completely different." And people will
Yes.
be like, "What do you mean? I'm used to doing nope, we're doing it this way." And we're not gonna have like a traditional strategy coaching call. We're gonna just do some deep healing. And that's what we need to do right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just like being on my toes. It helps me to really be on my toes
Yes.
to guide people. But then I also thought about how my 1-3 is very important with my writing. And I feel like
Oh,
with writing the book and everything, it's like this gathering of information. So I have this, you know, open head and open third eye.
yes.
So I'm just like constantly just like gathering information from this higher
Yes.
source. The only problem is, Courtney, sometimes it's so much stuff. And
Yeah.
somebody once explained it to me in human design that it's like you're not sure if they're your thoughts or if they're everybody else's thoughts. And that's
Right.
where I'll get stuck sometimes. It's even where I'm stuck right now currently in my book is that
Yes.
I go, okay, hold on, like I've got to like slow down to actually hear what it is I need to hear because
Yeah.
I can take everything and it can be too it's like
Yes.
think. It can be too much, you know, and I also read somewhere, which was really, I think it was this book on Dharma by
Yeah.
Sahara Rose, which was really interesting. There was a quiz you could take about what type of, based on your Dharma, what type of person you are. And I got the visionary. And it was very interesting.
Oh.
I always talk about visionaries. I did an online summit called Visionary Academy. It's like always been a big part of like
Mhm.
inside everything that I do. But she said with the visionary, you have to be cautious about who you're delivering the information to because you might come across
Mm.
preachy. And I love that because I really do recognize that my message and my delivery of my message is not for everyone. So as a 1-3, there are going to be some people who are very attracted to the things that I'm saying and the messages that I'm sharing.
Mhm.
And there are some people that it's just absolutely not. And I think as a coach, it's really good advice if you have these discovery calls with people and you
Yeah.
are vetting, because you get to vet who gets to work with you. Like you're the, I
Yes.
love you said authority, you're the authority. You get to decide who works with you versus the other way around. And as you
Mhm.
have these discovery calls, vet out like that energy, feel that energy out and say, you know, does this person hear the message that I'm sharing? Or is this person kind of turned off by the message that I'm or forcing themselves into and you can always feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel it
Yes.
for 2 to 3 minutes. And so within the first 2 to 3 minutes, you know if that's your client or not. And
Yes.
don't force it after that, no matter how much money might be dangling over your head or
Yes.
whatever outcome you're thinking about, don't force it if it just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't, right. Well, and that's really good because that's gonna, kick you into frustration,
Yes.
you know? And then it's gonna feel like, "Oh, crap, why did I do this to myself?" You know? And that's how it's gonna feel the whole time working with that person. I always feel like as business owners, it's so beautiful that we get to not only create our business, but we get to create who comes into our business. We're
Yes.
in charge of that
Yes.
energetically and with the yes or no, you know? Like
Cool.
we get that possibility. So, um, okay, on your chart also, there is a gate number 10, and gates are the half. They go across halfway, whereas channels go all the way across. Now, we always stick within human design type. Type is first, you know, we look at strategy and inner authority, how we make decisions, and we kind of use that allies that all together. And your inner authority is following your gut. So as you're making all these processes and you're getting all these ideas, you can follow your gut instinct of like, yes, is this good? I can keep these ideas and thoughts in a little notebook or something, and then go back to them and then find that gut feeling to tap you into that. Well, also part of this too is this number 10 gate of self love. So, this gate is a deep natural love for yourself, and you have the gift of empowering and inspiring others to love themselves as well. And you do it through a really authentic way. Now, again, you guys, like when I do these chart readings, I just let the chart speak to myself, speak to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds so much like Suki. I mean, your chart is filled with gobs of parts that we could dive into. But this is the part that really stood out to me. So there's a message here. Now, your gate is attached to a defined identity. And this is, I know who I am and I know where I'm going. You seek to be your best self. You have this built-in compass and you can trust yourself. So all of these things come combined together to help you in your coaching practice. Now, your gift of inspiring others to love themselves and work through fears, limiting beliefs. How do you help them that? How does your gift help them with your clients so that they can see that in themselves?
Yeah, it's funny because your dog's barking and my dog's barking over here.
Oh, yes, I know. I was hoping my AirPods would like do it because, yeah, we have some cleaners
Don't
coming
worry,
over.
my dog's being way louder. So
Oh, okay.
I'm glad she stopped right now because I couldn't even. It's so funny that you mentioned the gate 10 because when I saw that one, that was the one that really touched my heart so much when I found out about that one because I said, oh, I really understand this because I think that the journey of self-love, it takes us all over the place and it's going to challenge you, right? You're going to go to some places where you really despise yourself or you really dislike yourself or you're in a darker space. And I think that was me for a very long time. In my 20s, I think was a very long time of running away from like who I really was and like trying to be something that I wasn't. And so I had to go to a place of hating myself before I found loving myself, I think. And it was funny because it's funny, like you can look back at those, I can look back at those pictures and think, wow, like I was so skinny and my skin looked so good and my hair looked fabulous and everything. It's like, but if you look inside my eyes, it was like, she's not there. She's
yes.
Yeah. So I had to go through that stage of like really like going into that darkness. I got really sick in my 20s too. And I went through this journey of chronic illness. The chronic illness was all related to high stress. It was definitely also related to me not following my spiritual path, not following my calling, trying to fit into the world as the way I thought I needed to in order to just, and survive instead of thrive, right? And so once I shifted out of that in my 30s, and my children were a great doorway for me to look back at like loving myself. I don't think you can have children and continue to hate yourself. You got to start loving yourself once you have children, because it's like they're watching you. They're watching everything that you do.
Yes, that's what I feel. I feel like business and children are the greatest growth ever possible. They show my insecurities, my fears, my faults. And I was like, I came into parenting and business, and I was like, I'm pretty cool. I mean, not like arrogant, but I'm like, okay, I'm calm, I'm easygoing. And then I was like, I've got confidence. And then I was like, I do not actually, just kidding.
Exactly. You learn everything about yourself and and all the challenges, like you really do. And so I think with loving yourself, it's funny because in 2015, I did self-publish a book with 13 other women. I kind of gathered these women together from my community. Some of them were like in the yoga community. Some of them weren't. Some of them were already established online. Some of them weren't. And I kind of coached them through writing a story of love, like their own story about how they learned how to love themselves. And the book is called She Loved Herself. It's like available online. And it's
my gosh. Okay.
I mean, it's so like that was my channel 10. It continues to be.
Oh,
I continue to infuse that into like, hey, be your own cheerleader, take a look at the wins in your life. Take a look at the reasons why you're so freaking awesome right now. Like, why do we always want to hate on ourselves so much? If you're hating on yourself and the world is as hard as it is already, like you're basically putting the obstacles up in front of you. So it's like the drive and the energy all begins with you loving and honoring and respecting yourself. If you can't respect yourself, don't expect anyone else to respect you. So it's like it comes back
yes.
to, it's a very sacral chakra thing. It's very
Mm,
to the sacral. And so in that sacral, I had to do a lot of work. In the book,
yes.
my chapter was all about learning to love my sacral chakra, like,
Mm,
and I had basically shut it off for a long time, and I had to like remember that it was beautiful and it was powerful and everything. This was way before I even knew about human design, and then all these years later to look at this and realize, oh, it's my spot. It's the area where everything drives in my life. Of course, it's my power place. And so if I disempower it or if I disengage in it and I ignore it, then I'm not going to be, I'm flopping, I'm floating. I'm not doing what I need to be doing.
right. And that progress and that abundance drops off, and that feeling more frustrated with things.
Yep.
Yeah, everything. And it all interconnects, like I often think I walk into my office and I still have my mom, roll on me. I still have the sister role and whatever role else, friend on there as well. And so it all interconnects. And so I find if I have this emotion, that's not serving me, it follows me into my other roles. And I'm like, hey, wait a second. You need to, but it does, it comes back to self love. Like, I really think that built in compass comes back to that. And there's so much power in that and utilizing that in business to help other people to have that as well. Cause that's what really kicks down limiting beliefs and fears. And those are all that's holding people back. If they knew they could do something,
And
they
it's
would.
incredibly human to hate on yourself. It's incredible
Yeah.
to be difficult with yourself and to be
Yes.
really harsh on yourself. And I think we are always are our own worst critics, and
Yes.
nobody's going to judge you as harshly as you judge yourself. So just like
Mm.
coming back to that space of loving yourself, it's something you probably have to remind yourself daily. Like
Yes.
it's literally a daily practice.
It's a daily practice. I love that. Okay, you guys, this has been so beautiful, just like I knew it would be. I just feel like this has made my whole entire day. So, everybody, I would love for you guys to connect with Suki. Can you tell us where they can connect with you and what you've got going on?
Absolutely. So definitely connect with me on social media. I think, like you said, my Instagram is, I live on Instagram, so you'll find me on Instagram. My name on Instagram is Sookton. It's Sookton, Sookton. And that's the same on my website, sookton.com, Sookton. And I am just launching July 1st an online self-guided course called Reclaimed, where I'm helping people get reclaimed with their power, reclaimed with their feminine frequency, reclaimed with their creativity. I feel like this magical flow that we're all supposed to be living in is part of it. I'm going to introduce my daughter because she obviously wants to be in this. You want to be in
Yes,
this?
I would love it. Hello.
Mishka?
Oh, hello.
And I was talking about you a little bit today, Mishka, because I was saying how you and your sister inspired me to be who I am right now.
How old are you, Mishka?
How old are you?
6.
6.
Oh,
Yeah,
good work. You're beautiful inside and out, just like your mom.
she is. And she's a little projector as well.
Oh, she is. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
It teaches me a lot because learning from the projector in my home, then when I think I'd say 80% of my clients are projectors. So then I know, like, a better way to communicate and to help the projector by seeing the projector in my home.
Oh, Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll have all your links and when we can drop those after the live. But thank you, Suki, so much for
Oh, it
being
was
on
so
today.
nice. It's always such a like flowing conversation between us, isn't it?
It's so easy. I'm just like, ah. And it's so fulfilling and lovely. It's just beautiful. So, but everybody, make sure you catch her on Instagram. We'll drop the links and get into her program. You will not be disappointed. She is incredible, and this is just a smidgen of what she can do for you.
Aw,
So, thank you so much,
all
Suki.
right, thank you so much.
All right, you guys, wasn't that incredible? Please drop an emoji of how you're feeling after that chat. Again, we gift people our energy through social media, through our daily interactions, and Suki's loving herself so that she can show you the way to love yourself so your business can thrive. It's just the most beautiful thing. We do have a really special announcement, you guys. I have been putting this through my mind for a while, but taking my time to put this together. And this is the first ever um, only for coaches masterclass. And Suki and I talked a lot about this too, like utilizing your students' human design and helping them to work through their challenges, just even knowing their human design, how you can relate to them. And I'm going to show you a simple way that you can tune into them so that they have more wins, they have more understanding, and they have more progress. This is all about igniting them through seeing their soul and helping them to the next level. And of course, you guys know I do things simple and easy. So you're going to want to make sure you get the workbook. So drop masterclass below and I'll get you the workbook and you can register. And I'm going to help you support your students. And so this is why it's only for coaches, all right? Or if you have a coaching program you know you're going to launch, jump on down too, okay? And invite your friends to this who are coaches because we really want to collaborate and help each other. And this is going to be the first only masterclass just for coaches. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Let's rise to thrive.